that the city's done, but they don't know where we're really from.
They're saying New York is a ghost town.
TV said what?
They say we've lost our spark.
Huh? Try to say we ain't strong enough.
Get out of here. That New York's not New York anymore.
Blah, blah, blah.
Block party. Quickly throws it up.
The Toby Compton was popping.
New York is life.
There are other cities, but they're not New York.
We bounce back and we build up.
Yo, come here. Let me tell you something.
You can't stop us. We always survive.
We out here, we stay lit.
Facts.
New York forever.
New York forever.
You got something to say?
Tell it to New York.
Good afternoon, Knick Nation, and welcome to another edition of Knicks Dreams. Along with our host Santana, we have the incredibly lucky, we're going to call him Lucky now, Bill Stradamus, and the notorious Dream, and with myself, 2.0. We're here to chat about my favorite team and yours, the New York Knicks, and looking forward to a really good conversation about what's happened up to this point and what to look forward to in the near future. So take it away, Santana.
Good afternoon, Knicks Dreams Nation. You know, it's great to be on this Sunday, just about to catch the LA Clippers. But before we even chop that up, we're going to talk about the Cleveland game and, you know, what transpired during that game. So, you know, I'm looking forward to having a nice spirited discussion on that, what we saw, what we thought, and, you know, hopefully what they can do moving forward. You know, we just want to give a shout out to our brother Bill Stradamus. You know, he's here by divine intervention, which is a beautiful thing. So, you know, I'm happy to see him. And of course, we got the Dream, man, the next generation. He carries the torch, man. We just holding it for him. We're going to pass the baton and we're going to give it to him. As a matter of fact, we're going to pass the baton right now to him. So, Dream, set us off, Dream.
Oh, welcome, Sunday family. It's good to see you again. I know we're all in positive vibes today after another Friday win. You know, we have good things and bad things to take away from the game. You know, it was a nice game to watch because, you know, aside from the beginning of the first quarter, once we got our groove, it was pretty much a game I felt we had control of most of the quarters. So, you know, let's start off with the first score. You know, it took us almost 4 minutes left, or 4 minutes into the first quarter to score our first points. You know, and at one point, Cleveland got the lead up to like 13-3. But, you know, we got it together. Last 5 minutes, turned it around, ended up pulling that quarter out. That was important for us and setting the tone for the rest of the game. You know, we held them to 33 in the first half. So that was a good turn back the clock to our best efforts on defense, you know. Shutting them down really set the tone. We locked down second, which was good. I felt like everywhere he went, there was a Knick defender, if not two. You know, taking him out of his natural rhythm, never really let him get loose. You know, like I said, we controlled the game from start to finish. Once we got going, quarter by quarter. You know, field goal wise, we were able to hold them down to 34%, and we shot almost 50% ourselves. So if you have those kind of numbers working for us, especially with low field goal attempts, that equals a win for us. Good defense, keeps the game down in field goal percentage shooting. And, you know, and rebound, and usually leads to a win for us. And, you know, and with that, I'm sure we'll come back around, but let's get everybody else kick-started. I'm going to toss it to Bill Stradamus. Let's get it.
Thank you, my brother. Now, you know, same thing. One thing about this game, and then, you know, when we were on our chat during the game, I had mentioned it was good to get an easy win. We basically outscored them every single quarter. Despite that lousy start, As Dream mentioned, we went the first 7 minutes without scoring or what have you, and we ended up winning that quarter 19-17. So it was low scoring because of that defense. Our defense was on point throughout the night. Second quarter, we outscored them by 12. Third quarter, we outscored them by 3, and fourth quarter by 4, giving us a 21-point victory. We held Drummond in check.
Whoa.
I guess you can say, based off that other the performance the last time he saw us. What did he get us, like maybe 30 and 15, something ridiculous. That's when he put up his Wilt numbers on us that game. Now this game he had the rebounds, because I think he had another maybe 15 rebounds, but he didn't score. He scored 4 points. That is the difference in that previous game and this game. He scored only 4 points. It was good rotational defense. He threw different bodies at him and double teams at him all night. And we basically held down, Sexton and Garland, they did all right. I mean, Garland specifically, he dropped 24 on us and Sexton 17, but nothing crazy the way Sexton did to our neighbors, our little brothers across the river or wherever they're located at. But good game, and I look forward to today's game. And I'm going to cool out right now and send it up top to 2.0.
Okay, so like everyone else said, the main thing that I take away from is that we won every quarter. I don't care if it's 2-0, as long as we win the quarter. And yeah, it's ugly at the beginning, but they got their groove. They went up to, I think, 28 in the second quarter, 30 in the third quarter, or 25 and 30, one or the other, but we won every quarter, which is not something that we normally do. Okay, at some point, we might win the first and the second, but all of a sudden the third we might, fall apart and maybe come back in the fourth, but it might be too late. All those kind of things. In this game, it was just kept getting better and better and better. Quigley, once again, saved the day. He saved our collective, what. So, I was hearing the conversation. I think there was another program, and they had one of our former players on there, and I just happened to run into it. And one of the things that he was saying was that the fans are calling for Quigley to get into the starting lineup, but that sometimes people fall into their places in the rotation where they are most effective. And that was my call too. I say I love him as the sixth man. I love him as the first man off the bench, even if it's 2 minutes into the game. I don't care, but and let him grow into that. But even if he doesn't grow into that, his niche is to come off that bench and add that energy and that scoring punch. Because without him, who you going to depend on? Knox? No, I shouldn't even say those words. That's blasphemy. That's blasphemy. I can't depend on anybody else but him to be consistently score. Okay? Yeah, he might throw up a couple of jumpers that might, miss the ocean. But for the most part, he's on target. He's getting in the lane. He's making plays for other people. And he brings another energy that, the other team isn't ready for. So I'm going to throw it off the backboard to Santana.
So I mean, they came out. I mean, of course, they started off a little sluggish. Cleveland came in there and they started scoring. I think they built a 10-point lead early in that first quarter. But then, of course, the Knicks came back and closed it out and finished the quarter with a lead. And from that point on, they pretty much controlled the game wire to wire. So, I was happy to see that. I was happy that they came to the Garden and they reestablish themselves, as a team that you have to contend with, especially on the defensive end of the floor. And so, I think we all expected them to win this game. So that was good. That was good. It was an opportunity for them to, stop that losing streak and reestablish a new, hopefully, winning streak. In terms of individual matchups and stuff like that, one of the things that I was looking at going into this game was how would Mitch play against Drummond. And I remember I mentioned in the last episode that the ideal scenario would be for Mitch to actually box out Drummond to, minimize his touches, his rebounding prowess. And although he ended up with, I think it was about 15 rebounds, he was still not as dominant as he had been in the past. I would have liked to see Mitch do a little bit more running, after the fact. But, maybe that's not part of his game because he's kind of a little slow getting down the court. He may be very active in the half court sets, blocking shots and stuff like that. And maybe on the half court sets, trying to defend the perimeter. But in terms of running, rim running, maybe that's not part of his game, which is somewhat surprising considering that he's young, he's athletic, and you would think that, he has a high motor. So, that remains to be seen. In terms of another, matchup that I was looking at, or a particular player that I was looking at, again, and I know 2.0 just made reference to this cat, Knox and his motor or lack thereof. And obviously, he's still standing in the corner like a mummy, waiting for the three. And that's about it. That's the extension or the extent of his offensive game. Forget about defense. He's kind of shut that down. In the beginning of the season, that was his calling card, which surprised me. It was noticeable. But since then, it's been a tremendous drop-off. What did happen, which is what I was expecting, and this is something that I brought up in another show, in terms of, who to replace him with. And I brought up Obi, and for the reasons that were evident as a result of the Cleveland game. Obi, he went out there in the limited minutes that he got. I think he got about 12 to 13 minutes or so, and he was very productive. He scored 5 points. One was a three. One was a nice left-handed layup, going to the basket. And then on top of that, he was a very active body. When people were shooting the ball, he was, crashing boards. If not, he was setting picks. He was in constant movement. Right. And then on the defensive end, he did a few things too. I know in another show that I was in, when I threw that out there, the chat room blew up and they were killing me. I'm like, okay, come on, bring it. I can take the smoke. I know what I'm going to tell you. So in other words, the challenge that I put out there, okay, so you're killing me for saying that Obi should be the one to, get those minutes at the small forward position. And yet you're saying that, he's not a small forward. Maybe he doesn't have, quick feet to play defense and stuff like that. So the alternative is Knox? Really?
Knox.
Silence. Flat lies, man. Flat lies. Because if you're asking me whether, and mind you, Knox is what, 6'9", which is taller than Obi, which is in traditional NBA would have been considered a power forward, not a small forward. A small forward back in the day was between 6'6" and 6'8". That was the range. Okay, Obi's in that range. I think Obi's about 6'8", but he has more of a motor. So, when I broke it down that way, then folks started to get it. I mean, listen, if I'm going to take my chances, I'm going to put Knox out there. I'd rather transfer those minutes to Obi. Yep. Let's see what the kid got. He got more of a motor. And, of course, he's not the finished product. He's not a polished player yet. But let him get those minutes, because right now, whatever minutes you're getting out of Knox and he's not producing, those are wasted minutes. You bring in Obi, he's rocking. You know what I mean? So I'm going to stick with that. No different than my prediction about the Knicks making the playoffs. And I'm sticking to it. With that being said, I'm going to, do a nice behind the back, and I'm going to pass it back to my man 2.0.
And in 1 year, that left hand layup Obi went up with is gonna be a poster because
Yes.
he's gonna jam that. He's gonna go up and jam that. That's how I felt. He started the move and then he was like, "Oh, I'll secondary," but he has the skill to change that in the air to a layup.
Right.
But I felt like, oh man, this guy here next year, he's gonna be jamming that. Unfortunately, like he gives us everything Knox gives us and more. Right, so Knox is becoming expendable on this team, and it's unfortunate because we liked him, we liked the pick, we liked what he showed us in summer league. Remember? I don't know if you remember in summer league, he was down the lane and skyrocket dunking on people, and then it was like all gone the next couple of years. So I don't know what to do with him, but he's clearly regressing, and before he regresses to the point he's not even valuable on the market, we need to either not play him or let him get one more good game in and let that be the last thing people see about him so that when the trade deadline comes around, we can possibly do something with him. I don't know, unless his game comes around. But I'm excited what I see from Obi each and every time he hits the floor. He's becoming a little bit smarter. He's using his body on the floor, and he's definitely way more aggressive in every sense of the way. Even with the threes, he calmed down the threes and stuff like that. We got another good game from 5 speed. I was definitely impressed. He came in under control, like you said. 2.0 told us that he still some erratic shots from time to time, but that's just part of it. It's okay, man. Like he just gets off easily, so he feels he can try different things sometimes, and maybe get to some spots. Sometimes the shots don't fall. It is what it is, Like this is. Basically, he's coming out of summer league right now. Those first 10 games, 15 games of the season, that's supposed to be like a summer league for him, But so the sky's the limit with this kid. But he gave us 5 for 8 from 3-point line, so that was important. And then he caught that groove where he hit like 2 or 3 in a row, and he's swimming on the floor, and he bringing fun back, man. I like that. So people are like, what's that about? I seen somebody wrote that in the chat.
Yeah, that was me.
Let him go have fun. That's the thing. Like, I love it. I love to see it all. You know what I'm saying? This game, though, for us was really one. This was a gut moment, a man in the mirror moment for the 3, 4, and 5 position. Okay, and in this game for us, the 3, 4, and 5 position was Randall, Barrett, and Mitch. Okay, because we had what was it? Burks and whatchamacallit started the 1 and 2. So that was
we're at a show. We're live.
Right. The Cleveland, their 3 was Drummond, Nance, and whatchamacallit, the rookie kid. I forgot his Okoro. Okay, so we shut them down to 11 points collectively, and our 3 guys scored 46 collectively. So that's really where the game was won, or stretched out, I should say. Everybody had their moments. I feel like it was a collective win. The guys that didn't contribute, hey man, not guys really need to rely on anyway. The guys that contributed to this win came out, fought for us, really battled, and played their game almost as best as they possibly could. That being said, I feel good about it. I think this also, we should give a little bit of big ups to Coach Tibbs for making these guys gut check themselves on a Friday against a team that they should have swept this season. We lost the last time to them by a couple points, but this is a team we need to keep below us in the standings. Like they may be above us right now just because of how things shake out percentage-wise with teams, but we all stay in that group that we keep talking about, the Atlantas, the Charlottes, as they go, we go all the way up. You know what I mean? So, it was good to see us put another win on the belt. We need to keep doing that. And I had talked about in the last show a little bit about our February schedule being a lot lighter than this January schedule, so that may benefit us, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But for right now, I'm going to go around the back, and I'm just going to lob it straight up in the air, and I think Bill Thomas, I think he might have rolled off his man down the lane. What you got?
Got it.
Bam.
And I'm coming in for the OB type.
For the OB. There you go.
Speaking of OB, as everyone else has, the brother he played 13 minutes. You're correct, Santana. 13 minutes, 5 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist. The other guy, Mr. 2K, Kevin Knox, he only had 8 minutes. And in that 8 minutes, the only thing he was able to muster up was 1 rebound. 1 rebound. So he may be being phased out of this picture, and the only thing is I don't know if if the plan is to get rid of him, I don't know what we can get for him.
Yeah,
because he hasn't shown anything that would make a team. I don't think would make a team say, "Oh, we got to have that guy, so we'll give you whatever." But hopefully, they'll keep him around, and maybe his job will be to come off the bench and to back up Obi, who will probably get that starting that spot. I did notice that Burks, he was, he played, but he wasn't as lethal as we're used to him being.
Mhm.
But he only dropped a couple of points. He had 7 points, and in 24 minutes. But he had 6 rebounds. He had 6 rebounds and an assist. The Riddler, he's about to get the other initial back for his name, even though he's not doing it that
He's
way.
earning his name. He said, "Put some respect on that,"
Yeah.
which is okay. That's what we want.
But he's not doing it with the J. He's going to the hole. He's bullying. He's taking advantage. He's still shooting because he shot a couple of threes. And he drops them.
Yeah.
So he's learned to pick and choose when that's going to happen. Because I saw situations where they passed it out to him and he was in the corner and he looked to shoot and then it seemed like he thought better and just took it in and went to the hole or brought it in a little closer and took a 2-point jumper instead. And his jump has been, it's been pretty good from 2. But I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna give a few more games before we give him the other initial back. Okay, so he's still the Riddler or the R. We'll call him the R.
The Scarlet Letter.
Yeah, the R. And not Rakim. Mitchell Robinson, although he only played 22 minutes, 6 points, 4 rebounds, and an assist, but he seemingly had a decent game because of the defense that he helped on Drummond.
Mm-hmm.
I can't belabor the point, but we did a very good job on Drummond.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you guys remember from the start of the game, it seemed like he was going to try to do what he did the previous game.
Oh, yeah.
He came out, he was shooting, but he was getting his shot blocked. Mitch had a nice block on him, or 1 or 2 in that first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And he seemingly got a little frustrated in that first quarter because I think he felt that he was fouled on one of those putbacks or 2, and he didn't get the call. But they let him kind of play because, we on our end, there were times where Randall went up and he felt that he got fouled, but he was complaining to the refs as well. But overall, as one of you gentlemen mentioned, was it you, Papi Santos, who said that everyone contributed?
They don't know the reference to Papi Santos. You're gonna have to tell them that.
You might need some explanation.
Give us some background on that.
Santana, on one of our brother shows, was named by one of the other hosts. This guy, for whatever reason, maybe he couldn't remember Santana, but he just started calling him Papi Santos.
He remembers my name, but he just preferred that.
He calls him Papi Santos. So I already told Santana I'm gonna be dropping that on him as well.
Drop that on there. There you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna be dropping that. So he gonna be Papi Santos over here too, on occasion.
Oh, okay.
And I see Cuz Bugs.
What's up? What's up?
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the
Thank
show.
you.
Let me wrap up my initial thoughts. And Rivers had a good game. 24 points. 24 minutes. 24 minutes.
Hey, okay now.
My bad. Don't jump on me 2.0. 13 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. He had a decent game. With that being said, I'm gonna take it around the back, fake to the left, and go up top to Papi Santos.
Well, I already spoke a little bit, so I'm gonna drop it off to 2.0, and then 2.0 will drop it off to cousin Bugsy.
Okay.
So go ahead, 2.0.
All right. So the final point on the Knox is that he's becoming Nilikina 2.0. He's on his way to the bench, and we gotta move this guy before the trade deadline. Give him a couple games where he can show up, put up 20 points, and then hit him with Nilikina and get something. Get a second round draft pick. I don't care.
Maybe he can go with DSJ to the G League.
All three of no. Package for a second round draft pick.
You can't get anything for DSJ right now.
That's sad, and that's what happens. We have to get rid of these guys before they become invaluable to anybody.
They're already there.
Anyway, my point is that I think still, again, Alfred Payton's getting too many minutes for the production that we're getting out of it. I'm sorry.
Somebody got
I
I hear an echo.
There's an echo here from me.
Somebody have a TV on or something? I hear an echo.
Something in the background. Yeah, there's some background noise.
Okay.
Bugs, mute the TV, Bugs.
Anyway,
Yeah, I know, man.
so
I have on the little things. Excuse me.
Yeah, you were going to say something about that in a minute, Dream. But I just want to say 23 minutes for 2 points and 3 assists out of your starting point guard. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And just to harp on Bill Stradamus' point, yes, our no J is now our go to the hole, Barrett.
Yep.
Okay, in my book, because when he does that, it's all over because he's going left every time. They cannot stop left-handed players going to the left. Nobody can. It's written. It's in the NBA Association Basketball Bible. Take it away, Bugsy.
The Basketball Bible.
Go ahead, Bugsy.
All right. Well, just to add to what he said, as I told you, the R is always trying to play bully ball to prove himself. Right now, he's proven himself, so I have nothing bad to say about him. Just don't shoot a three. All right. I keep telling y'all about Mitch. I don't know if y'all been watching. Like I told you, offensive rebound is not there. Why? Because he's on the opposite side of the backboard. He does not know how to position himself to get the ball down low to have a post game. They need to teach him that. If they taught him that, he'd be great. But other than that, he's a waste of time when it comes to the offensive boards unless you're throwing an alley-oop. Other than that, he's on the opposite side of the board trying to read what's on the board from the back end. And that's crazy.
You didn't see his tweet? They don't let him play. You better let him play.
So let me loose.
You see let him loose. The tweet that he put up, and then I think he took it down a half an hour later.
Well, to prove to everybody that he can play, since he's been practicing threes for the whole summer, is shoot a three. You're not going to get taken out for shooting 1 3. Now, he probably get taken out for shooting 2 of them.
Oh, man.
Let's try one. No. And as far as IQ, I think IQ is where he belongs. He belongs coming off the bench and finishing.
There you go.
But then that means we still need a starting point guard then.
I didn't say we didn't, because
we definitely do.
My boy, I love him to death, but he's inconsistent. Got to be consistent. And if you're starting, you got to start the fire. IQ can keep it going, but you need to start the fire. I think that if he was consistent, nobody'd be complaining because he is a good player. He's not Mr. Junior. All right. So you got to think about that. When he's consistent, he's consistent. He gives the ball to everybody. Everybody flourishes.
Yeah.
When he's inconsistent, he's pushing too hard, and all of a sudden I see a bunch of air balls, and I got all kinds of breeze going through my house coming from the TV.
Good point.
So that's my feelings on what's going on now. Everything else has been kind of good. I like what I'm seeing. I like the hunger on defense more than anything else, because that's your pride. Your defense is your pride.
Mm-hmm.
Because if somebody can take you at will, they will talk about you the whole season. Be prideful. Okay, that's my take.
Pass the rock.
Pass the ball, man.
Okay, I pass it to the coach, man. Let me pop it up high to the coach. Papi!
So yeah, man, the beauty of it all, we're gonna have ups and downs for throughout this season, but I think we're gonna be hovering around 500. And if you would have asked me at the beginning of the season that we were gonna be, at that 500 mark, I would have taken that in a heartbeat. So I'm really happy with that, because I believe that with that type of record, they're definitely gonna make the playoffs. I absolutely believe that, especially in the East, because there's a pretty much, there's a very close proximity between Team 4 and Team 10 in the East. The top three teams, I think they've kind of separated themselves from the pack early on. And who knows what will happen as the season progresses. But nonetheless, that bottom, 2/3 of the Eastern Conference, for the most part, is pretty close to each other in terms of game differentials, wins and losses and stuff like that. And we're right there in the middle of the pack. We're right there. I think we're 8th right now. If the playoffs were to start today, we'll be ranked 8th, which is playoff, option right there. Not play in, but play off. So, I'm really happy about that. Yeah, go ahead, Bugsy.
Poppy, question.
Yes, sir.
I know Philly and I know Boston. Who are the other two?
Milwaukee.
Well, everybody else is shaky.
Milwaukee's one.
Mm-hmm.
They shaky.
Yeah, but they're still there.
And Brooklyn.
And Brooklyn. And Brooklyn's really 2 games above 500.
Right.
Yeah, but Brooklyn to make it.
Yeah, they'll make it. I think they just signed Shumpert, I think.
Yeah, they did.
Because they got to shore up their defense. Because they don't have defense, they don't have depth. So obviously they got to make some moves to be able to shore that up.
They're also waiting for Drummond to be bought out so he can join them. That's what the word on the street is.
Okay.
So Drummond going to the Nets and not the Knicks.
That's what the word on the street is.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm not upset. I don't want Drummond long term.
I don't want to trade for Drummond and give up assets.
Right.
I don't want to give up assets. I want to complement what we have.
Right.
Unless the assets are the 3 people we've been talking about.
But it's really going to cost those 3 people, since they don't have any value. What we're really talking about giving up is our first round picks.
Right.
Next couple of years. That's what the real asset that we have is. Those Dallas picks and our own picks for the next 2-3 years coming up. So that's always the bulk of any trade conversation in my eyes.
True.
These guys that they have, we just hoping they hit on an individual game, and then like we said, that's the image whoever's trying to trade for them has. Knox hit 4 out of 5. They should have never played him after that game. Boom. This guy can hit 3-pointers. We gotta increase their value however we can, whether it's fake, you know what I'm saying? Like fake image or not, or whatever, however we can get them off, we're gonna get them off eventually. But salvaging our real future, which is those picks, is more important than anything.
I'm still not sold on Obi.
Really?
I haven't seen him lift any pebbles with his mind yet.
No, it's okay.
It's coming.
This is
coming.
He's just
to play that dream reference where he went up with the left and he was going to bang it, but then he changed it to a layup.
I saw it.
It's a dunk. Yeah, he's going to dunk that next time.
Yeah.
I mean, Billy, at our age, we have a flash once in a game.
Yeah. I don't know about that now. We haven't played in a couple of years.
Yeah, there you go. So.
We played on our last cruise, and I was done. I was ready to hang it up.
Hey, at least you played. I was sitting in the
You sit on the
hospital
side, you
Oh, that's right.
while you were out there getting sunned.
Oh, yeah.
Cuz. But in terms of Obi, I mean, would you rather have Knox getting those minutes?
That's a good question.
You thinking about it?
And to be honest, I would really have to think about that with the two right now because Obi hasn't proven itself like IQ has proven itself, even though IQ has gotten more minutes. Obi does not have his NBA legs under him. Right now, he's still thinking instead of reacting. And you can tell by the way he plays, he's stiff like the Statue of Liberty, you know, when Dumb 45 was still president.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, you're right in terms of him getting his legs under him. Yeah. The thing I do see in him is the instinct. So, for example, and this is something that if you compare the two players, when Knox shoots a three or anybody else shoots a three, he's still at the corner. He's probably at the corner right now, waiting for the ball. Okay. That's number one. Number two, okay, when Obi's in the game and someone else shoots a three, he's crashing boards.
Yeah.
That's instincts.
Yeah.
That's
well,
instincts.
He has to when Mitch is on the opposite side of the board.
Yeah. But Knox don't do that.
But Knox attack with the ball. You can't tell me he doesn't attack with the ball.
When?
I've seen it in every game that he's played.
No,
this is not.
Watch him today. Watch him today.
So this is
just like I tell you to watch Mitch.
Listen. Knox shoots the three and he's watching it.
Yeah.
And then if the team, you know, the opposite team gets the rebound, he's drifting on defense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, one of the problems with the Knicks is when a person shoots the ball, they do not go and position themselves for long rebounds. And that's the whole team.
Yes.
That is the whole team. Once the ball hits, everybody is running down court, except maybe IQ that pick up the ball carrier. Obi's
going towards the basket, and he's moving, setting picks, and he's crashing the boards. So yes,
picks. I'm not going to tell you he doesn't. He
does. So he's an active body. So if anything, I mean, yes, you're right. You know, his legs are a little jittery right now. I get that because that's lack of minutes. But watch him. Keep watching. You're gonna see. Once he gets into his rhythm, people gonna forget about Knox, assuming he gets the minutes. Mm-hmm. And I want him to get the Knox minutes. Once he get the Knox minute, he's gonna be an afterthought. Mm-hmm. So with that said, let me pass the rock to 2.0 to give him a little burn. Go ahead, Rock. 2.0.
Okay, I just wanna piggyback on something that Dream said earlier in the conversation about how February looks to be a more favorable schedule for us. And I'm looking at that schedule and I'm trying to figure out where that favorable, where did he see this favorability? Just let me mention some of the teams that we're playing. So we got the Bulls on back-to-back. We got the Blazers and the Heat on back-to-back. We got the Wizards, the Rockets, the Hawks, the Magic, the Spurs, the Timberwolves, the Warriors, the Kings, the Pacers, and the Pistons and the Spurs. So you might say Pistons, Timberwolves, Magic, and Kings.
Bulls.
Kings already put it to us the last time. Where is the easy schedule there, Dream?
So let me tell you how I came up with this. So how I did this was 10 plus wins. Because that's the guys that are pushing the gas pedal down, and they're at the top of the league, right? So 10 plus wins. There was a lot of teams that we faced. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it was 12 out of the 16 games, and a couple more teams that had 10 plus wins. So I'm saying you bunch those teams, right? And then you have the next group of teams that are like 7, 8, 6 wins and stuff. So if you look at that alone, double-digit wins versus single-digit wins, you know? And even adding the last couple games in, we start out 2 against Chicago, 7 wins. Portland, 9 wins. 2 against Miami. They just got their 7th win. Washington, 3rd win. Houston, 8th win. Atlanta, 9. Orlando, 8. We don't see a double-digit team until San Antonio. And that's like the 10th game of the first 10 is what I'm saying. So that's where the schedule really starts to lighten up. So,
2.0.
what was that?
That's strong teams. Those are strong teams you're talking about.
I'm not saying they're not strong teams. I'm just saying schedule-wise, we got hit with hard teams.
Those are all playoff teams.
But Dream. Also, you gotta look at the matchup for each of those teams to the Knicks. When you look at that, you can't just look at their win-lose record. You gotta look at the matchups also. Some matchups on good teams, we might be favorable, even though everybody still think we're on the lower echelon.
Yeah.
Then some teams that are bad match up so much better with us that we may get our butts whipped.
Agreed.
So you gotta look at that part too.
So it's like a.
We're a playoff team. Didn't you hear, Poppy?
Yeah, I don't know why. You know, this how I look at it.
Anybody want to put a bet? I got a bet that there'll be a playoff team. Anybody want to take me on?
We're on the same page.
2.0 might get you.
37 wins.
Yeah, 2.0 may want some of that action. He's
some
the
of
only
that
one that has reservations.
I'm not betting you out on that, but you're getting ahead of yourself.
So yeah. So you know, I mean, I agree with all that stuff like that. You know, there's tough teams all over this schedule and stuff like that. But you know, if every team was going to be a tough team, we would be Washington 3-15 right now instead of 9-11. We've beaten tough teams on days that you don't expect it, so we can play with them. I wouldn't say like this is not a playoff matchup. We're going to see a team 3 out of 5 times, 4 out of 7, you know, that kind of thing. That's a different story when you could go night after night. But we can catch these teams off guard with some COVID restriction things going on, whatever, or just like you said, some matchups with lesser score teams. But I'm just doing it overall, big picture, just to keep the light of hope going forward with us. You know what I mean? Like,
I understand it was all a dream.
It's all a dream, baby. That's it. You know, it's all in the name. It's all right there in the name.
I got your
Quoting
back.
Biggie. Quoting Biggie.
I got your back, Dream.
So
We're
listen.
gonna bring back Mark Jackson.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
Okay. So listen.
Hey, don't talk about my Queens brother. That's my man.
Yeah, no, Mark is the real deal.
He is.
So let's transition because we got about 12 minutes before game time. So you know, let's talk about this matchup between the Knicks and the Clippers. Who wants it? I'm gonna lob the ball up in the air. Who wants to, you know, grab it first? Go ahead.
2.0.
Go ahead, 2.0.
All right. They got 2 superstars and the 6th-man player of the year. In my book, every year, except for when he goes down to the neighborhood in the bubble and hang out. This is a loss.
Yeah, thanks for that one. Thanks. Let me put that in the pocket for later.
Wait, which way do you want it? You want it with this hand? Or you want it with this hand? What?
Oh, man. Hilarious.
Pick a hand. It's going to be maybe 110 to 90.
Oh, my bad. Hey. Who's next? Where you sending it?
I'm sending it to you.
Oh, to me. Okay, sweet. So, you know, I look at the Clippers and, you know, the hope is in a couple of years, this is us. You know, they started building a team and then they finally got their superstars in there. So, you know, they once were the laughing stock of the league. Knicks were the laughing stock of the league. In that sense, I gotta see, like, we got a little hope coming some year, right? One year it's gonna land for us, right? More realistic numbers. Team won 9 in the last 10 games. This team is 4th in defense. This team is 7th in offense. So this is probably the most complete team we faced all year. You know, and they're coming in hot, man. 9 of the last 10 games. The last time we lost a game was to Atlanta. So, you know, I put those numbers down, how we can match up, you know, with them as far as the way Atlanta did. But, you know, we need to rebound strongly, and we need to keep them to one-shot possessions. That's the hope that we have today. Hopefully they're not super hot, you know. They're a West Coast team playing basically for them is going to be 10 a.m. because it's a 1 o'clock game. Hopefully that comes into play for us a little bit. You know? And on average, you know, the Knicks are still holding teams to -5 points, you know, points per game. for the other team. So, we held minus 20 to Cleveland or something like that on Friday. So once in a while we will do something like that. I'm not saying we're going to hold this team to minus 20 at all, but, and a lot of what they're doing now is that they're actually running their offense through Paul George rather than Kawhi Leonard and letting Kawhi get back to what Kawhi does, just dominate the game. And then it takes the pressure off from him wasting the body during the game. Outside of that, we'll come back around for a score and stuff, but I just wanted to drop that and send it down low with Bill Shadamas.
You're muted, Bill.
Muted, Bill.
My bad. I agree with everything that you just said, and the Clips are hot. I've seen them a little bit, and they're doing their thing. And the fact that they're running their offense through PG-13 instead of Kawhi is what got them to where they are now. Mm-hmm. Like you said, Kawhi is so great of a player. He knows how to affect the game without you even looking for him to affect the game. He knows defensively and offensively where he needs to be and where his teammates are and or need to be on every single play, which makes him a great player. And we're going to have our hands full today. We're definitely going to have our hands full. And I'm not expecting a win. So therefore, I'm going to predict that we're going to win this 111 to 108 Knicks.
Whoa. All right.
And with that being said, I will pass it. I'll pass it over to Cubs Bugs.
All right. I like your prediction, but Dream, for a minute I thought you were talking about Sacramento, not the Clippers. Clippers were hot, with CB3 and everybody else being there, and then they went away. But they weren't just totally garbage. So I have to disagree with you with that.
I think he's saying previous
to that regime. Yeah,
the Kings are the ones that was forgotten.
Yeah, but the Clippers prior to the Doc regime is what I was referring to more.
The Kings are still in the dark regime.
They're still in the dark regime. No, I agree. Both those teams belong there.
All right. But looking at this game right now, I think both of you are right. They are hot. They're on for all four cylinders. Was good. It's an early game for them. Was good. It's a game that because they might be tired, they might not be focused, and there is a chance because we play up the competition sometimes. Mm-hmm. As long as we can cover the middle and stop leaving it wide open for Daddy to come home and see you in his daughter's bed. We will be good. We will be good.
Where did that come from?
Because we leave the door wide open. Wide open. And those easy baskets are hard to make that run because we always make that run to come back in the fourth. And I can tell you right now, I like Billy's numbers, but I like Billy's numbers. It can go either way. Mm-hmm. Depending on how we play that defense and close that door.
So which way are you predicting?
So give a score.
Oh, I like 109, 111, 112. But I'm saying, depending on what we do, it can go either way. We can have an upset win, or we can say, damn, we left the door open and we could have had this game. So it's hard to tell. It's not. I don't think it's automatic. I really don't think it's automatic.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'll put you down for 112 to 109 either way.
Okay.
All right.
Either way.
Okay.
What kind of?
We never had that before.
Anybody can win that. Anybody can win that, man.
Defense nice.
I'll take that, man.
Hold on. If you want to bet, I'll go with my team.
Okay. All right.
Let's go.
I'll take my team.
112, 109 Knicks.
All right.
There you go.
All right. Pass the rock.
We got two more.
Hey.
We got two more. You guys, you gotta give your predictions. Dream and Poppy.
Yeah, let's go, Dream.
All right. So, the last 2 times this team lost, I'm just gonna pop those numbers: Golden State and Atlanta. We beat both those teams. Right. First quarter, 30. This is what Golden State gave up to the Clippers, and they beat them. All right? So first quarter 30, second quarter 35. That's a little rough for us. But the third and fourth, 22 and 18 respectively, and then they won that game. Golden State. Atlanta beat them, and they got the first and second quarters. They allowed them 21 and 27, and then third and fourth, 22 and 29. Now that's a little bit less than what we're used to the Clippers scoring. And in that game, Clippers didn't have their full squad. So I'm saying with that, the Knicks still hold teams to -5. I'm say Sunday special. I say this game is tied at 106 going into overtime, and in the overtime period, the Knicks win it 10-6. So total score 116-112 Knicks.
All right.
116-112 Knicks
In overtime.
In overtime.
Oh, look at it. You want to make sure you got that 2.0.
There you go.
Pick him.
That's it. And with that, we're gonna end our show. I'm gonna spin it on my finger, and I'm gonna go around underneath the legs, curly Neil style, toss it back, both sides to my man Santana. Go ahead.
So this is the thing. So I'm gonna pick the Sunday upset special. Okay? The Sunday upset special, and it is not necessarily for the numbers on the floor in terms of what the stats say or anything of that nature. It's all about New York. These LA Clippers came into town last night, and I know they must have been partying somewhere. So they're gonna wake up hungover this morning.
Okay.
And the Knicks are gonna jump on them from the very beginning. Now, that being said, okay, the Knicks are gonna control the game early on and stuff like that. And of course, the Clippers are gonna make their run in the second half. And as a result of that, it's going to end up being a close game at the end. So I'm going to predict the Knicks 109, Clippers 108 for the Knicks Sunday special upset today.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, thank you for joining us to another edition of Knicks Dreams. It's been a fantastic conversation. We want to thank our resident statisticians, the Dream, the lucky Bill Stradamus, the notorious Bugsy, B.I.G.
B.U.G.
There you go.
That's the nickname.
And playoff Poppy Santos.
Playoff Poppy.
Okay. And of course, yours truly 2.0. I know that most of the Knicks players are listening to us right now, and that's why my prediction was a 20-point loss for them. So that way it'll be served as motivation for them to prove me wrong. You know what I'm saying? We need everything that we can get. They're putting that. This show is being run in the locker room over and over and over again, especially my prediction, folks. So go New York, go New York, go. As I say every time at the end of this show, once a Knick,
always a Knick. All right, fellas.
Peace out, fellas.
Salute the king.
Yes. Yeah, my man.
See you guys later. Enjoy.
All right. We'll talk during the game.
Is that the Mark Jackson?
Yeah, that's the Mark Jackson. Oh, but he got the Cardoza name.
Cardoza. Okay. All right.
All right, fellas.
All right, guys.